overtly religious and far right-wing Christian, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, is, as I've mentioned in other videos, still willing to defend a pedophile. Still willing to cover up for a pedophile. Here's Mike Johnson saying that the reason why we can't release some of those Epstein files is because, well, Joe Biden was president for 4 years and we don't know what he did to doctor him. Watch this and we'll be back to talk about it.
Look, it hasn't been my area that I've worked on. Unfortunately, I wish I knew more about it. It's been in the Department of Justice. One of our concerns is, of course, that it was, held in the hands of the DOJ leaders under the last administration, the Biden-Harris administration. And we all know how crooked and corrupt so many of those top officials were, how they engaged in lawfare against President Trump. And he has a concern, and I do as well, that things could have been doctored in those records. So that's part of the concern. But I'm for full transparency. We all are. Maximum transparency. The president is as well. There's no daylight between him and the Republicans in Congress. And we'll continue to advocate for that, to let the people see the records. And
so, first and foremost, we know that's a bullshit excuse, right? So you're telling me that the Joe Biden administration, and we're going to get to another point of this in a minute, but you're telling me that the Joe Biden administration doctored the Epstein files to make it look like Trump was all over them, and then in 4 years never put that information out? Never went, hey guys, look, here's the Epstein file with Trump's name all over it. Now your retort is going to be, well, they didn't put it out when they knew Trump's name was in it, if what you're saying is true. It's my understanding that's because those records were sealed during the Trump administration while the Ghislaine Maxwell trial was going on. That's my understanding of it. But here's another angle of it. He was arrested in 2019. Donald Trump was president in 2019. That means all of this Epstein shit, this was all in the Department of Justice's hands when Trump was still president. You guys are worried about what might have been doctored through the Biden administration. Well, why don't you just go with the shit that you already had in the first term? You already had some information and some data. Why don't you just use that? Is that too damning too? The bottom line to this whole thing is this. Donald Trump is a pedophile that fucked little kids. There's no doubt in my mind. That is my opinion on the situation. Donald Trump is a pedophile who fucked little kids. And there's evidence of that pedophilic behavior in the Epstein files. There's most likely photographic evidence as well as video evidence in addition to actual written evidence. And everybody in this administration knows it. And they're all willing to cover up for her. Which means Speaker Johnson, Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, any elected officials in Congress with an R next to their name that are blocking the release of this information or pushing this new narrative that Donald Trump wants you to believe that this is all a hoax. They are all covering up. Hear me when I say this. If you are saying that this is a hoax, if you are saying that the files don't need to be released, if you are going along with Trump's narrative, you are covering up for a billionaire New York elitist who has fucked around on every one of his wives, bankrupted an untold number of small contractors, because he fucked little kids, but you agree with his politics. You are willing to overlook the systematic sexual abuse of children by this man because, what, he throws out the people that you don't like? Because he gave another tax break to billionaires? Give me one good reason why you're covering up for this fucking pedophile. I'm all ears. I can't think of one solid reason why you guys would be covering up for what is now widely known to be an old pedophile.